Calyrex-Ice has always been a top tier threat and competitive, but what if I told you it got better? Calyrex-Ice didn't receive any buffs or anything, but players are figuring out how to properly use it. Today we'll be talking about why Calyrex-Ice is even good in the first place, how Calyrex-Ice is mainly used, and any new innovations about it. To start, Calyrex-Ice has amazing stats, obviously, but stats aren't everything. Ice isn't usually considered to be a good typing, but it actually does work here. The thing with Ice types is that they're horrible defensively, but they're really good offensively. Ice only has one resistance, to itself, which makes its typing more of a liability than anything. However, it works here. Since Calyrex is so bulky, the horrible defensive typing of Ice doesn't really matter, since you're able to survive super effective attacks anyway. And as I mentioned earlier, Ice is an offensive type. This means that you're hitting so many types for neutral super effective damage with Glacial Lance, and Calyrex has good enough moves to cover the types that would normally resist Ice, like Fire and Steel. So we know that its stats are good and its typing is pretty good, but is that it? Well, it has great synergy with Terastallization and other top Pokemon in the format. Since it's so bulky, it works well with redirection and support Pokemon, like Smeargle and Incineroar, but it also works well with offensive Pokemon, like Urshifu. This is because it has the ability to work both inside and outside of Trick Room. Since it's so bulky, it doesn't need Trick Room to be active in order to do damage, but it can still set the Trick Room to support its team in matchups where you don't have the speed advantage. So, how is Calyrex mainly used? I'm sure a lot of you are thinking of the most recent regional in San Antonio, but that falls under new innovations, so I'll go over that in a bit. On a side note, I was actually at that regional. I finished top 64 using Zamazenta, and the thing that actually inspired me to make this video was playing 3 Terra Fairy Calyrex-Ice in Swiss, which I had a horrible matchup into. Calyrex is used in a variety of ways. The main one is an offensive balance team, typically supported by Pokemon like Ogerpon Rock and Chi-Yu. This archetype was very popular at Worlds, and it still is relatively popular now. This version is also the archetype that won the regional. Another way to use Calyrex is Hard Trick Room. Players were running a lot of Electabuzz and Smeargle to redirect and boost up Calyrex to allow it to sweep in Trick Room. A lot of the time, Hard Trick Room teams have a hard time winning after Trick Room expires. However, when you have this much support, it's very possible for Calyrex to set up Trick Room a second time. So, new innovations. I'm gonna be honest, Terra Fairy Calyrex is super annoying. From the Zamazenta perspective, you can't really damage it with your restricted. In one of my Swiss games, I played Terra Fairy Calyrex in Rain, and normally I have to use Chi-Yu to hit Terra Fairy Calyrex, but since it was in Rain, I literally could not damage it, and that matchup was super tough. In order to win, I had to get lucky and outplay, and even though I got pretty lucky, my opponent played better, so props to him. Anyway, Calyrex-Ice now run Terra Fairy to have a better matchup into Zamazenta, at the cost of the Zacian matchup. This is also why Zacian performed better than a lot of people were expecting, since it beats the new Calyrex-Ices that were popular here. On top of that, Roaring Moon was a new innovation. Now, I don't know the exact reason behind Roaring Moon, but I can guess. My best guess is that it allows for a Tailwind mode, and it also helps the Calyrex Shadow matchup. On top of this, it gives flying coverage for Amoonguss and Ogerpon. Anyway, if you want to hear about my run, like and comment, and subscribe, please, and maybe I'll make a video on it one day, but who knows. Until then, I'll see you in the next one, goodbye.